Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Overcast Podcast. This is episode number 7. Join with me is my co-host, Billy Kyle.
What is going on, guys? Today, we've got two different topics to talk about. I guess one big topic, it's the FAA, and then two brand new, rule changes that they've proposed. And I think that they're in a step in the right direction. They're still tentative rule changes. Again, a step in the right direction, but I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, anytime the FAA does anything, it is a really slow process at that. And my fear is they change a rule, how much is it going to cost us?
Yeah, I know. I just, especially going through the whole Part 107 process, I really did feel the full effect of how slow the FAA moves. It's such an archaic process. And now for them to fully change a law, I'd love to see them put something into effect as quickly as possible for them to change it to kind of be a little bit more beneficial towards us drone flyers. But I'm not going to get my hopes up.
So the whole purpose behind this move is the most requested waiver that the FAA gets is to fly at night. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
So yeah, FAA gets over 2,300 waivers submitted to fly at night, I believe, a month or something crazy like that. Yeah, it was something crazy, and they can barely get them approved.
Yeah, and think about how many people are just flying at nighttime without a waiver. I've never had to request a waiver to fly at nighttime because I never fly commercially at nighttime. I just fly for fun, so I've never needed to apply for that. But just imagine how many people aren't getting that waiver.
Right. So I guess that's the biggest thing we need to sort of throw out there is that the rules for hobbyists really aren't changing. And guys, there's plenty of videos out there right now that plenty of people have done sort of breaking down this law. We're just sort of having a casual conversation about it because when we figured this out, we only found out, a few days ago?
Yeah. In fact, the first person I saw to post about it was Ken Herron. But before we get any further, we do have to mention our sponsor, Skywatch AI. It is an app that you can purchase drone insurance from. It's super simple. I really wouldn't recommend going the State Farm way because they can jack up your rates if you've got insurance for other things through them. It's a little bit sketchy, but Ken, tell them a little bit more.
So yeah, like Billy said, Skywatch AI is an on-demand insurance app available in all 50 states. You can download it on Android or iOS, and they give you affordable insurance rates. And the best part about it is, at least for me, I can predetermine my flights before I even go on site at the houses that I'm shooting, and I know exactly what I'm paying, and I can easily build it into the quotes that I'm providing realtors. I highly suggest you check it out. And don't forget to use the link in the description below to let them know that Skywatch, that Overcast sent you. We are not Skywatch, we're Overcast. So make sure you tell them that we sent you. Really helps us out as well and lets them know that you guys are obviously checking us out, watching us.
Yeah, man.
Subscribe.
It's a super cool app. It's super unique. It's something that I wouldn't have even thought of, being able to just, buy insurance as you need it. It seems like, just like the FAA, these insurance companies are a little bit archaic in the sense that, you need to, you get locked into contracts, you've got to pay monthly for your liability insurance, blah, blah, blah. But being able to pay, as you need it is really awesome. And another app that is, very unique, and we could probably make a whole episode just about this, but Fly There. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't even know they had an app at this point. I still thought it was sort of a concept. But yeah, Fly There is something that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, okay, so
and we'll definitely talk about that.
It's not an app yet, but you can use it through your computer and you can use it through your mobile browser on your phone, and it actually does work. They've got tests set up right now, but that's something that I don't think I would necessarily do because I've got my own drone. But for people who don't have a drone, it's pretty damn cool.
That is pretty awesome. So the new FAA rules, or the proposed rules, because remember, when they propose these rules, it takes time for it to go through the approval process, and it's got to be vetted and make sure it's safe. But according to the FAA, that with all the waivers that have been submitted, they've never actually logged any accidents from commercial flights from anybody who's submitted a waiver to fly at night.
Which makes
I think
sense.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes for the community.
It's very impressive. And amidst the government shutdown, they're proposing these new laws. We can't get our 107s, but we can propose new drone regulations.
We can't import products from DJI because of a government shutdown, but we will propose new laws. Go figure.
I think it's awesome, right? And I've been reading a couple of different articles. Again, this is all tentative, so there's not like any hard information about what's going on. But we do know that there was 2 different proposed laws. First of which has to do with flying at nighttime. The second of which has to do with flying over people. And when I first saw some of the article titles, I was like, no way they're going to let us fly over people. But then after looking into it, it is very underwhelming. It's like they've got these 3, I'll explain it real quick. I've got this pulled up. There's these 3 different categories, right? And basically, if you're in category 1 and you've got a drone that's under 250 pounds, or 250 pounds, 250 grams, which is about a half a pound, that poses
0.55 pounds.
Yeah, it poses like basically no risk to anybody. If it falls on you, it's going to be like, oh shoot, was that rain? But you can fly that over people, no questions asked. But what type of commercial pilot is flying a little drone like that for any type of work purposes?
I can't think of the last time I would have pulled the Spark up to do a commercial flight.
Not even the Spark.
I don't understand that.
Not even the Spark.
I don't even understand that.
You can't even fly
it's a step in the right direction, though. It is a step in the right direction, though.
Yeah, and that's what I said in the beginning. I do think it's a step in the right direction. Obviously, these drones manufacturers have been making these drones for so long that it's come to a point where they're reliable. I've never had a drone fall from the sky. I've never had a drone fly away from me. I fly almost every single day. I've never experienced any sort of issue. And any issues I have experienced, it's not let me taken off. Like it said one time, I had an ESC error, and it's a good thing it didn't let me take off because my drone could have fallen from the sky.
Yeah, and so I've had one issue with a drone falling out of the sky over the lake, and I'm not entirely sure or convinced that that wasn't my fault, but either or way, DJI did take care of me. But again, that could have been pilot error. That could have been, I mean, it was cold. It's possible. But I've not had any issues, though, other than that. I mean, we've even flown in cities and what have you, and I think our Mavics have done exceptional, and we haven't had any problems. I think it's all about just being smart, obviously.
Yeah, that was definitely pilot error. I can just tell you right now. I don't think I was even friends with you at that point. Definitely pilot error. From what I've gathered.
What do you mean from what you gathered? What do you mean from what you gathered? That is such a typical comment by you.
It's so funny because no, it's so funny because when we'll be flying, he'll be like just getting set up and he'll be like up in the air. He'll be like, "Oh, look at my drone. It's 10 feet away from me." He'll be like, "Yo, I'm a mile that way."
You make me a nervous wreck flying with you. Like I feel like
yo, I'm
I feel like I'm the
top
dad.
Of the stack.
I'm typically the dad when we're out flying. I have to reel you back in. You're like, I'll still remember the night. Unreleased footage, but I remember the night, and you're like, "Yo, come peep this," and I'm like, and I walk over. I'm like, "What do you got?" And I look down. I'm like, "Jesus, what are you out of your mind?"
I was taking pictures of buildings and stuff.
Oh man, yeah, heart attack central.
What were you gonna say? You were just like laughing or something.
I don't even remember. Oh, I don't know. I was probably going to call you a name of some sort. I don't know. It's just typical.
So these 3 drone laws, right? The one that I think that I'm probably most excited about is flying at nighttime. And I'm scrolling around here.
So you need a beacon, by the way. So to be able to fly at night, you have to be take a course, and you have to have a beacon that's able to be seen within 3 statute miles, right?
Yeah, and so I've got the Enterprise, the Mavic 2 Enterprise. I know that you have it as well. And have you ever tested out the light beacon on the top?
Oh, let me tell you, it is pretty crazy bright. It's pretty awesome, actually. I can see it from a distance.
Yeah, so I've got videos coming out on the 3 attachments. That'll be up soon. But, I've taken that light beacon and I've flown it during the daytime, and you can see it pretty damn well. Even if you set it up on your table inside and you start just letting it blink, it's like blinding. If you look down at it, you're like, oh my God, like it's totally blinding. But then once you get the thing up in the air, I did tests. I went out a mile, I could see it. I went out 2 miles, I could see it. I went out 3 miles, and I could still probably see it just as good as I saw it when I was back from 1 mile. So I mean, I think that a little light like that, for how small it is, it could be easily implemented into all drones, either underneath, on the top. They're just gonna have to rethink some sort of design. But in order to incorporate that going forward, I think it's easy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge for them to add some sort of marker. I mean, heck, we have lights everywhere else on these drones, so give us one on the top that can be flipped on or off, and we're good to go. But yeah, having the Enterprise now makes life easier because we just throw that attachment on, we're good to fly. It doesn't affect or obstruct the video that you're trying to get, or if you're trying to take photos, really doesn't obstruct anything, actually. So yeah, I haven't had any issues whatsoever, actually.
And another thing they could do is just make those LEDs around the side, like the red and green LEDs, just super bright. They could make it to a point where they're dimmed when it's landed on the ground. You're setting it up, but once you take off and as you raise your altitude, they begin to bright up or they begin to light up. And maybe they could even tell what the distance is from your remote controller to then continue to get brighter and brighter and brighter as you continue to fly away. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting ways that they can be implemented, and because this was even proposed, I can definitely see these types of lights being implemented or at least thought to be put into drones. And also, it's funny. I got a little handout from Cody about some of the different attachments. The little light beacon attachment on the top is only 24 grams. It is so light.
So I weighed all the attachments prior to, like, when I first did the unboxing, like way back when. And that's the first thing that was shocking was how light they all were. The other thing was, I'm sort of surprised, is like the speaker didn't implement lights within the speaker because it's a conical speaker. Like, it just makes sense. Like, give us a light so we can holler at people, like if they were down there needing help or assistance. I don't know. I feel like they still got a little bit of testing, but I don't want to talk too much about that. But when I was joking around was like how much this night waiver or being able to fly at night is going to cost. I say that because they mentioned the word training. Now, I don't know about you, but I know when I went through the Part 107, had to pay $150 just to take a test. And it sounds like they're going to make you take another test to be able to add that certification to a certification you already have. That's what it sounds like. I could be wrong.
I wonder if they'll just like rewrite the Part 107 to incorporate something about nighttime flight, maybe make it a little bit longer, and then I wonder if they'll just grandfather the already Part 107 holders into that. But then that would make some of the newer people upset that they have to study it. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to handle it. That's a little weird.
It's going to be interesting. I think either or way, the 107 needs to change. It needs to be more drone related.
Definitely.
Whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, I found the test pretty straightforward, simple, as long as you studied. But just like we've said numerous times, that many of the things that we read on that test didn't have anything to do with the drone specifically.
Nope.
And I think it's really, like, when you're flying anything, you need to be really crucial and specific about what you're doing at that time. And if we're talking about planes and things that really don't apply to a UAV, that's sort of scary, even though you're certified. But I used to say it all the time in my when I was in automotive. You can be certified, don't know shit, basically. You can bleep that out if you want. But that's what I used to say when I used to hire people off the street that just got their certifications. It's a true statement.
Because these people that get their certifications, they might be great pilots, but you could come from being a pilot in the air and ace that test, and then a drone's a totally different ball game. And God, that's the last thing I want to do. Some people in Facebook groups, you see them coming out and they're like, well, I am a real pilot and I fly drones, and they just think that they have like jurisdiction over everything. I'm not trying to in any way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to put that down, but a drone's a different ball game, especially when you're not inside of the aircraft. And
it is. I mean, you got to account for the fact that when we're flying these, we have a certain amount of latency between us and the craft itself. So we're always accounting for that, and perception of how close you are to something is different. So there's all these different things that play an account into flying a drone. But I think they're going to charge something. I think there's going to be a fee or an additional certification that gets hopped on the 107. I don't think it'll be a brand new test, essentially.
Something else that the FAA could do with maybe potentially implementing these new rules or any new rules in the future for commercial pilots is making us who already have our 107 go in and take, I guess, like a 20 question quiz test, whatever you want to call it. And then once you pass that, you get a little sticker or a little something on your card that says you can fly at nighttime or says that your license applies to whatever new rules were put into place. And then moving forward, anybody that gets their 107 will have a decal on their actual card, and then they'll also have those questions on their test. So maybe they could do something like that.
So my thing is, because the FAA doesn't own those sort of, I don't know, those testing facilities. Obviously, it was a third party that we went into and we talked to, that they're going to charge us because they have to pay for their time, their employees' time, whatever, whether it be a nominal fee or if they're just going to say, okay, well, we're not going to do that because, if you certified within this amount of time, you have to go online and take this quiz. I don't know. They could do something even like that where you have to go on like maybe IACRA if you've already registered and take a course and that's how they're going to, certify whether or not you're actually able to fly at night, because it's a new test. They can probably get away with something like that, but there'll be something that we have to train additionally, and I almost am certain there will be some sort of money being talked about.
Well, yeah, it's the FAA we're talking about. $5 for every drone pilot, $150 for every commercial pilot. I'm sure some people have paid over $1,000 in order to actually get their 107. So, yeah, I think that just kind of like this weird, awkward period where some people already had their 107 and then they add a little bit more to the test. There could be something that kind of is messy, like you've got to go in and, again, like you said, kind of get certified or take some sort of course online. I mean, something's going to happen, and I hope that the FAA just doesn't kind of screw the people who already have their 107. Like maybe like there's no way to even get that waiver or get that sort of certification, and then as you move forward, you're going to have to wait until you get retested. But at the end of the day, who's going to know? Who's going to be like, oh, let me see your license. Oh, you don't have that decal? All right, we can't fly at night.
Yeah, nobody's going to know. I mean, obviously, unless if an accident happens or, I don't know. I mean, how do they know whatever happens? Only because bad things happen, and that's when people report it. Or if somebody reports you, obviously, like we're on YouTube, so we sort of throw ourselves out there. Like if we were flying at night and we didn't claim ourselves to be under, recreational purposes, I mean, that would be how they would know because it's on video. But I mean, any other person, not going to know.
Yeah, so now, I don't know. I think that's like all that we've got for this. I think that we've covered what's going to be new. It's pretty simple. It's flying over people. They've got those 3 categories, but like at the end of the day, a normal, typical drone pilot flying an Inspire, a Phantom, a Mavic, you're still going to need a waiver. So not many changes there. But the flying at nighttime thing, that's definitely a change. And I think that as long as you had those collision lights, you really should be able to fly at nighttime. There's not really all that much of a danger. And also that would be huge for roof inspections, right? So now I know you've got the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual. I'm looking at potentially getting into thermal as well. And the best time to actually do a roof inspection with thermal is at nighttime. It's like an hour after the sunset, which you would need a waiver for. But now if you can just put anti-collision lights on your drone, you're set.
Yeah, so I was out, obviously I was testing with it today, taking a look at the roof, just trying to, see the efficiency. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, that, if you want to do an inspection like this, you almost can't if you're a professional, because you're going to be just after that twilight hour. It's right out of that sort of window of opportunity. And then, of course, yeah, you need to have the lights on the drone. And I don't know. I think, again, right direction we're going in, but it's going to take time for them to refine it. It's going to be interesting to see what that end-all result is. Even beyond flying at night, like when we look at all the rules that they proposed, again, I think the word is underwhelming, but we'll have to wait and see what they say, because, again, I don't think anything is going to happen until after the shutdown.
Yeah, we could be talking about this for months. I mean, we could be like waiting for something to happen, and maybe nothing even ends up happening. But I want to wrap this up with a funny story. So when I first got my 107, I started doing work for this company, right? And I told you about this.
Yeah.
And I was doing roof inspections for a company that was getting brand new roofs put on, right? And the first time I was there, and there's a lot of signs that say no loitering, and I was sitting there flying my drone, and the cop pulled up, and I was like, oh God, I was like, hey, how are you doing? Are you here for me? And he said, yeah. And I was like, ugh, got to deal with this. So I went through, I talked with him, I told him I was there to take photos for the company. I gave him my employer's information, whatever, everything was fine. He said, have a nice day, just, and actually what's funny is I got a call from the dispatcher saying, hi, we're just giving you a call back to let you know that the drone in the air is up for inspection purposes. It's there, lawfully. And I was like, I'm the dude flying the drone. So I guess they got the wrong number in that case. But something I figured you would find funny is I went back to that location today and a cop came.
Really? What did they say anything to you?
So it was nothing crazy. I was trying to build up a little bit of suspense. I got there and I was doing like the final photos. The roof is all finished. So I was taking some videos, some photos, and the cop like pulls up. He sees me. I had my Inspire out. He looks at me, and then he keeps driving. So I don't know if he was just doing rounds. It's not a place where you'd really see a cop driving through. I was kind of in the back of a parking lot. So I wonder if he was there. He saw that I wasn't, a shady dude, and just kind of drove off.
You had an Inspire. There's nothing shady about an Inspire.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, look, I got a big drone, and I'm surprised. It could have gone either way. It's like, oh, he's got a really big drone. Let me see what's up. Or, oh, he's got a really big drone. He's here for a purpose.
Now, if you pulled out a unique typhoon, you were probably going to jail. He was probably going to arrest you if you had a typhoon.
He was going to say, "Sir, is that orange?"
Hey, leave the orange alone. It's okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Did I take a stab at your Evo?
I feel like that was a little bit of a low blow there, but that's fine. That's cool, man. That's cool. Orange is still a great color. But
okay, so I agree. Orange is great to see in the sky. I've had no problems with the Inspire, no problems with the Mavic. If I fly 1 mile away out to Charles Island near my girlfriend's beach house, I'm able to look out and see my Inspire fully over the island. I can still see it.
Oh, I believe it, especially knowing where the shoreline is there and then where Charles Island is and how big the Inspire is. Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty far away and you can still see it. Now, a Mavic, when you put it out there, you've got that line of sight out towards where it's at, but it's pretty hard to see that little speck. But the Phantom, forget about it. Even though it's bigger, that thing you lose in a second just because of its color.
When I was out there flying in Vegas, I could not see the freaking Mavic against the mountain. Could not see it.
Yep, that's
Couldn't
true.
see it.
See, now that's in a situation where the Phantom would come in handy. White on
The
black.
Phantom would come in handy right there because it would have been white on I guess
Brown.
red or brown. I don't know.
See, that would be helpful. Now, you didn't bring the Evo with you, right?
No, I brought the Mavic because I wanted the zoom purposes because I had intentions on going to the mountains and my thought was, well, if I couldn't get close to it, at least I can zoom in on it.
No, it sounds like
the whole idea of it.
Sounds like you're choosing the Mavic over the Evo.
No, because if you watch the videos, I did rank the zoom over the Evo. So.
What?
I know. I'm all sorts of bipolar,
Exposed. No, but dude, I mean,
Exposed.
really, like, just to wrap up that story, even though I just told it like 4 minutes ago, but to wrap up that story, I have gotten the cops called on me for flying my drone so many times, and it's all been legal. God, I'm gonna get so much crap for that. It's all been legal. It's all been times where I'm there, working, or I'm there just flying for fun, and it's like the cops come up and they're like, "Oh, we got a call from so and so, thinking you're spying." And I'm like, "I'm not spying." The funny video that Sean Oz did where he showed how a drone...
It's so true, dude.
how a drone cannot be used to spy. I mean, if you're inside of your house and if you see a drone outside, chances are, just because of the camera and the exposure, they're not going to be able to see you at all.
Right. If they're exposing for the outside, it's not exposed for the inside. Not even going to have to worry about it.
Yeah, and at that point,
have to worry about it.
It's so hard to see inside. And also, I guess the thing that's making it a little bit worse is the zoom cameras. That definitely makes things, it makes it easier to spy if you wanted to. But also, it comes down to, like, I was in the parking lot of that apartment complex that I was shooting, and it's like, if I was going to be spying, I'd be, like, across the town and flying the drone over. I wouldn't be, like, there in the parking lot.
I don't think people really register that, like, when they think about, like, when you talk about drone spying, like, they got to realize, like, we can fly these things miles.
Yeah.
So why would we implicate ourselves by standing right in the parking lot? Just I don't know. Makes no sense. But people are weird, and until they get more education on drones, I think we'll always have to deal with that one-off person that's gonna call. I mean, until Amazon or somebody makes it mainstream, like they're flying in the air. Mm-hmm. We're always going to have to worry about stuff like that.
I'm taking a intro to film class, and it's kind of interesting because they're pretty much, they're called motion pictures, but that's because there are a bunch of pictures lined up, and it's just frame after frame after frame, still after still after still. And during some of the very first images in the theaters, when somebody would point a gun towards the audience and pull the trigger, everybody would duck. Right? And now it's like you look at something like that, you see an explosion, you're like, whoa, that's awesome. So that could be the future for drones. I really do hope so. Right now it's almost like taboo. In fact, I've seen a couple of people comment on my videos saying like, oh, I bought a drone and now I'm the creepy weird dude down the street with the drone. Like, but I don't find, like, I bring my drone out and people like, that is so cool.
People never say anything. My neighbor's just like, oh, there he is playing with his toys, So it's like nobody ever bothers me, And again, but like I try to, like, I guess I look at it differently now. Like, I'm making money with them, feels good.
Can't complain.
No, can't complain at all.
I guess that wraps it up, right? I mean, there's a lot of substance here to talk about, but like most of the substance is speculation because it's all laid out right there. It's like they've got these 3 categories. They proposed it. We don't know what this training is going to be for the night waiver. We don't know if any of it's even going to go into place. Is it a step in the right direction? Yes, but it's a very small step. So I like.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate too much on it because you sort of get people's hopes up that have been waiting for something like this, and then in a blink of an eye, this all could be crushed. So I think we should just we'll end it right there. Episode 7.
You know what?
And then come back strong, episode 8.
Yeah, I want to make one more remark. I'm really surprised that they're going in this direction of almost, loosening up the drone laws a little bit after the Gatwick airport situation. Like, I feel like that had everybody, tensions high.
Yeah, but in a way, they realized, well, wait a second, our own paranoia, we overreacted. There wasn't even a drone at Gatwick. We overreacted, and it's just like, all right, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
That whole thing could have been detrimental if it was. So I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, totally agree. And I don't want the conversation to stop here. You guys watching out there, feel free to let us know what you think of both of these rules for the FAA, or that the FAA proposed in the United States, down in the comments section below. Again, they're a little bit looser. They're in a step in the right direction, but I think that I would want a little bit more out of the FAA. So maybe, I know that the FAA wants some I guess, feedback or whatever. So maybe we can twist their arm into doing a little bit more for us. But I think as of right now, as it stands, it's a step in the right direction, and we do want to hear from you guys. But Ken, you have anything else to say?
No, not really. If you guys have enjoyed this episode, make sure you drop it a like. We really do appreciate it, and we do read all your comments. I promise you, Billy and I both go through all the comments from every single episode, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you're listening to us or watching us, thanks for flying with us. Can I say that? I think that's cool. Thanks for flying with us.
I don't think you can say that. We're not flying.
All right,
because you
fine.
see, the point of the Overcast podcast is when there's an overcast outside, you come in and do the podcast.
Listen to me, Kyle. Don't try to give me a weather lesson. Don't try to give me a weather lesson.
Mic drop.
Okay? All right. Close it out. You want to do the outro this time since I did the intro?
Yeah, I'll do it. All right, guys. Anyway,
all right.
Thanks for watching. And as always, we will talk to you in the next episode. Peace.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.